Welcome to Out of the Parks with Jon Marks. I'm your co-host, Sam Stafford, alongside, obviously, Jon Marks, remote today because he's a little under the weather, and then the one, the only Maniac Malloy. Before we get into anything, Maniac, tell him what to do.
Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. You got to like and subscribe. Jon Marks Media, Jon Marks' YouTube channel, and Bet Parks' YouTube channel. It's very simple. It's a very simple concept. We need your help. Like and subscribe. John, thanks for not coming in and giving me the flu, by the way.
Yeah. We I added a couple of processes that we haven't had to do before, but
it's okay. You know what? And to pick up the energy a little bit, you know what? The Phillies are red hot. We need energy. I'm putting the eye black on right now.
He got a little on his nose.
Did I get it on my nose?
A little bit, but I don't think they can see it. So
I'm serious about it. All right, how do I look?
I love it. We're bringing the energy because the Phils are red hot. Once again, I think we started the show like that last week, but they somehow got even better. 26-11, the literal best team in baseball right now. Absolutely insane. And I think one of the best parts about this, John, is the fact that we obviously know that both sides of the ball are rolling. Everybody's doing their job, but then it's just fun. Like the baseball, it's not like anybody's stressing. They all just look like they're enjoying each other, having a great time. Yesterday was a freaking Tuesday playing the Blue Jays, and the ballpark was absolutely on fire and full. It's just so much fun right now.
Yeah, it took me back to really 07, 08. That run right there. That's what the ballpark feels like right now, which is we love the players love us. Everything's working except with this team. And I'm not trying to compare them to 08. We won't do that yet, but like this team's rolling right now and everything's working. They have 6 starting pitchers. We'll talk about that coming up a little bit later. The lineup's killing it. And think about this, guys. Trea Turner goes down with an injury. He's going to be lost for 6 weeks. We're not even talking about it because this team is able to sustain an injury like that. They can move around some parts, and ultimately we're probably going to be like, oh, thank God Trea Turner's coming back. But right now, everything's rolling. I saw a stat here. Jason Stark tweeted this out earlier today. We're talking about this season, they're the best team in baseball. How about if you go back for the last 162 games into last season? They're 101-61. With a plus-minus run differential of plus 197. So a lot of times you'll get these like, oh, well, look at their record, but they're playing crappy teams, and look at their plus-minus run differential. This team has been killing it this year, and they were doing it the last half of last year too. So, I mean, really, and I kind of fell into the trap of thinking like, well, they're a good team, they're not a great team. No, this is a great team right now, and this is the best team in baseball, and it feels so good to be able to say that and feel it.
Well, speaking of feeling it, John, are they going to win the division now? You're really coming around, aren't you?
I don't know how you can't say that they can't win the division right now. I don't know how. I mean, the way Ranger Suarez, it seems like every week this is an ongoing thing with us, Maniac Malloy. Now we're looking up. I'm looking up Ranger Suarez Cy Young odds after every start because he just goes out there and he's dealing. Zach Wheeler looked amazing in his last start. Nola, Walker's actually looked good. You have Turnbull that's now piggybacking with Sanchez, but Sanchez didn't need a piggyback last night because he had a good outing. So really, there's not a flaw or a weakness in this team right now. And I don't know how you can't consider them or look at them and say they're not the best team in baseball or they can't easily win this division.
I mean, they threw out the B league, the B team yesterday too. With that lineup.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that this team is so much fun and that they're rallying. There's just something special about this team when they can rally around and know that they're not playing and still pick up the guy that's playing in front of them. I think that's what makes this team so special. To your point, John, it takes us back to the good old days. There's good camaraderie and it's going to be so much fun. But I do have a little bit of fear in me.
Oh, here she goes.
They're peaking too early.
Hey.
It's just for the fact that, is it too good to be true almost? Just for the fact that normally you have those hot teams that look really good to go, but it's a 162 game season. And I'm famous for saying, just hang in there until the All-Star break and then you can pick it up. So now I'm a little just in my head. Are they getting going too soon?
No, I think it's legit, and a previous incarnation of Jon Marks would have probably already brought that up, especially one that was on the air for 4 hours a day, because you do want to be playing your best baseball in September and going into October. And I'm sure at some point during the season, they're going to have some type of a slide or, there's peaks and valleys in every season. There's 162 games. It's a really, really long season. But it just feels like this team right now is maybe not at this pace. And I know they haven't played the best teams in baseball. They played a pretty soft schedule so far, but just losing a guy like Trea Turner, and now you have a chance to slide Stott over to play Rojas a little bit more. So Whit Merrifield's able to get at bats at second base, and Rojas is able to get a couple more at bats. Like last year when Trea Turner couldn't hit, it killed the team. But Dave Dombrowski has done such a good job in the offseason to make this team a little bit deeper. And man, I don't know. They can't do it at this pace. The starting pitching has been fantastic. They're slugging the ball. Bryce, since they had the baby, has been killing it. But right now, Sam, I want to live in the moment, and I just want to enjoy it because you know what? There's going to be some time where something does happen where we're like, uh-oh, maybe the wheels are falling off.
Well,
yeah, Sam's she's notable for saying it, and it's true. Sometimes it's all coming up red and it's all coming up Phillies, and then all of a sudden, once they're all hot, then all of a sudden they all get cold at the same time, and you got to kind of be able to stagger it. It seems like they're all hot right now, and everything's coming up Phillies that you're kind of waiting for the other shoe to fall. I'm going to be like you, Marks. I'm living in the moment. I'm enjoying it right now.
Well, and that is one thing we do have to remind everybody, because that is one of the frustrating parts about baseball in Philadelphia. We have such a fierce love for sports that it's almost like the sky is falling every single time that one thing doesn't go our way. So we do have to remind everybody 162 games. So there are going to be ups and downs still to come, obviously. But I think one of the most refreshing things, even just to kind of rebuttal myself, one of the most refreshing things is we have seen this team really start going in June. So before the All-Star break, to my argument earlier. So it just seems like it's a month and a half earlier, which is what we want to see and which we should have seen honestly last year, because this team is so good and this roster has been so good. So I think we're finally just seeing all the pieces going, and it's really exciting. And John, to your point with this rotation, I have a fun little fact. Philly starters have given up 3 or fewer earned runs in 33 of 37 starts this season. That is absolutely insane.
Yeah, the team has the look. It really does. You look at all facets of the game, from starting pitching, the bullpen has held up, and their lineup, they have the look, and they have this confidence about them. And, it's difficult to go from year to year where you feel like that you have momentum going into the next season. 2007, when the Phillies made the playoffs, they got swept out by the Rockies. They didn't necessarily have a great start to that next season, but at least you felt like, hey, maybe this team has arrived. We've been here with the Phillies. They were in the World Series. They fell apart in the NLCS last year. But the difference, I think, with this year is you're seeing the emergence of Bohm. You're seeing the emergence of Ranger Suarez, to where if you're not getting that type of pitching from Ranger Suarez, who has been lights out every time he has taken the mound, it doesn't look like this. You don't have the same feel of this team now for somebody like me that said, I don't know about their starting pitching at the top. I don't know if Noel's a good enough number 2. I don't know. And now you're seeing they probably are good enough at the top. Bohm has emerged as being the best third baseman in baseball, or one of the best third basemen in baseball, and they're a little bit deeper. So the team has the look. Bryce has the look. And let's roll. Let's roll. This has a feel of one of the years, not even the year that they won, but the year after they won. And you knew this was like a really good team and a championship contending team. That's what this team feels like right now.
09. Feels like 09.
With a different outcome.
But am I a psycho thinking about the potential of winning the division, clinching the number 1 seed, and getting in that tough spot of having to shut this team down for a whole week? Am I going to start that conversation
on May 8th? I don't know on May 8th, but your name is Maniac, so
I am crazy.
I
was thinking about it last night.
Well, actually, I'm going to slow your roll a little bit, because we do have that All-Star break. We might have a lot of guys playing, so it might not actually work, but we'll see how they come back from that, because that's going to kind of derail them a little bit. You get a couple of days off, so we'll see how they rebound from that. How about that, Maniac? Does that put you?
Well, the history would say that you almost don't want to
I
have that
know.
number 1 seed in the whole week off. And some of those teams come out
Let's start losing.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's start losing some games
Let's start
here.
losing some games. We
Yeah.
want to get the wild card. All right. We
So-
want to keep playing as much baseball as possible, as many wins as it takes to win the World Series.
Well, you guys talked about it with just how this team is like a different energy to them coming out of this season based on last year. Usually you don't see that. Do you attribute that to Bryce Harper? Because I feel like he is, yes, you have the younger guys coming up, which is really cool from our farm system. They're homegrown, they're doing their job. But I feel like Bryce is that key piece that makes everybody just play their absolute best every night.
Yeah, I mean, as this team goes, and the Phillies have done relatively well when he hasn't been in the lineup with injury, but at the beginning of last season, as we saw, he wasn't there, and they got off to a slow start. Man, I mean, he has been, again, we said since the baby, he has been red hot, but it's hard not to get the effect of Bryce Harper all throughout the lineup. The thing I look about with this lineup is one of the things we talked about early in the season and in spring training was what's going to happen with Rojas? What's going to happen with the bottom of the lineup? Is Castellanos going to kill him? Castellanos hasn't been great. Really hasn't mattered. Rojas has actually played pretty well. He's raised his average considerably. And Sam, to your point, as Bryce Harper goes, I think the Phillies go. And right now he is playing with such a confidence. It's hard not for the entire team to feed off of him.
Nick Castellanos, back-to-back doubles, back-to-back nights, I should say. So maybe he's heating up there. We see Bryce 3 games in a row with a home run. Maybe there is that correlation right there. So really fun to watch out for. To your point, lineup has been absolutely fire. And that's one argument for the people that say that the Phillies haven't played the best teams. They have played starting pitchers. And some of these guys have been some of the best in the league. Jose Barrios last night, 1.44 ERA coming into last night. They put up 8 runs on him. He's let 7 runs this entire season.
Pretty
to
impressive.
this point. Yeah.
His ERA almost doubled. Yeah, it was amazing. Yeah, and a lot of people are going to point to the schedule. They really haven't played an upper echelon team since the first series of the season against the Braves. But what I'll say to that is that, well, who is in Major League Baseball? You're playing the same teams for the most part. I know it's more balanced than it was before with the division because you're playing everybody, but they're not really. They have a soft schedule coming up as well. You look at it, they get one more today against the Blue Jays. You have the Marlins, you have the Mets, you have the Nationals, and then the Rangers come into town. Obviously, the defending World Series champs, but you're going to have really. You look at the schedule. Who is good with Major League Baseball? So a lot of this first
the
half
Nationals are one of the only above 500 teams.
The Mets are above. The Mets are 2 games above 500. I mean, I guess the point is that when you're a really good team, guess what? You're going to look at other teams as being inferior to you because they are. And as long as you keep beating these teams that aren't as good as you, which there's not a lot of teams that you could say are better than the Phillies, if even an argument. So they should be beating these teams. The problem is in previous years, they didn't do that.
Yeah.
But this year, they're beating them all. So as long as they beat the bad teams, they're going to be in the division race and they're going to be winning in the 90s. And especially, also, guys, the way that they started this season, and we talked about this in our very first episode, if you're going to have a chance to win this division, you can't start slow. You can't dig yourself a hole because then, man, you're trying to dig your way out of it as you get into June, as you get into July. They started so well, the best start they've had since 93. That's how you make the case for this team being a division winner.
Well, even to go you kind of against your point just a little bit. I mean, it was kind of a disappointing start at one point for like the first
the first 2 series, sure.
And then to, rattle off how many is it now?
18 out of the last 21.
I mean, that's just
insane.
Who's got it better than us?
No one.
Nobody. I love it.
No, but I do think, and that is just a testament to how good this team is John, to your point, you don't see, or you didn't see them beat the teams that they were supposed to beat last year. And that was always one of the most frustrating parts of this team. And now you're seeing that. So that shows how good they are, how much of a leader that Bryce Harper is, and he's carrying this team. So it's awesome. And it kind of is a little boring. Like, it's fun to talk about Phillies, obviously, but I feel like we're flying through it. We don't really have much to talk about because they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. It's fun.
Yeah, it's from somebody that did sports talk radio for 20 years. It's always easier to talk about it when they lose than when they win. But with the Phillies, that's why I say this brings me back to the run 15 years ago or so. We treated every Phillies game not like an Eagles game, but it was a party because the team was so good. They were so fun to watch. They were hitting homers. They had personality about them. This team has personality. They have skill. And damn, you tell me when the Phillies have had outside of the Halladay and the 5 aces, right? Like this rotation right here, I'm put up against that rotation of the 5 aces with 4 aces and Joe Blanton. They're pitching that well right now.
As long as Michael Sanchez keeps throwing strikes, his biggest problem is walking people. He looked amazing last night.
Oh, you mean Christopher?
Christopher.
Wait,
sorry.
you threw me off
Michael
a little
Sanchez is the leading jockey for Parx. Sorry, he's on my brain too. It is the Triple Crown season. Christopher. Sorry, Chris. If you're watching out there, which I'm sure you are.
Obviously.
But it was pretty fascinating to see Turnbull, like you said, Marksy, come out of the bullpen and basically didn't need to, but you got to get him work.
Right.
Well, and I think that's
settle into that role.
That's almost comforting in the fact that if Sanchez decides that he is going to have an off night, okay, so he goes 4 or 5 and it's kind of disappointing for him, but then you have Turnbull to come in and pick him up. So I think that's really refreshing and definitely a confidence booster with this team.
For sure.
You have people on the bench that are better than other people's first string. So it's really exciting, but we're going to move on. Tell them what to do, Maniac.
Like and subscribe. Subscribe to Bet Parx YouTube channel. Subscribe to Jon Marks YouTube channel. Throw us a like. Throw us a subscription, a subscriber.
Like, comment.
There you go.
Yeah,
we'll answer questions. Let us know. But we're going to cleanse the palate real quick. Look around and see what's going on outside of baseball. And one thing I have for you guys that we were talking a little bit before are the comments from Kenny Gainwell. I don't even know what podcast it was, but he went on with somebody and said that on the Eagles collapse last year, I think.
Do we have the clip?
Do we have the clip?
I think we have the clip.
Oh, then let's play the clip.
Why don't we just play the clip?
Let's play the clip.
I say teams like the Chiefs, bro, are like well connected, upstairs and downstairs, front office and the locker room. Like everybody's connected. When you have that connection piece, bro, everything just click. When, you got guys that's not talking to each other, then, you never know what's going on, So, like, if we all sit down and talk to each other and find out what's going on, or we find out what we need to do on the field to, get this thing going, then, we'll be good. Because if we play real hard at the beginning of the season, we need to continue to play hard at the end of the season, because at the end of the season what really matter.
That's what really matters.
That would really matter, because when we get to the playoffs, if we're not playing good, and we still got our head down because we just lost 5 games, what you think we're going to do in the playoffs?
So one of the biggest things to me, it kind of doesn't make sense, because he talks about communication and how they don't communicate well, but he says upstairs and downstairs. But then as he keeps talking, it kind of sounds like they don't talk to each other on the team. Do you think it's a communication problem that he's saying between players or between the front office and players? What did you guys make of that?
Yeah, Sam, I agree with you, because if he didn't say anything about upstairs and downstairs, you would assume that he was talking about the players, right? But the fact that he said the front office and he brought up the Chiefs, the front office, I mean, this has to be a coordinator thing, right? This has to be something with. You think about the downfall of the Eagles last season. Right? They replaced their coordinator 3/4 of the season through, and it was obvious the offensive coordinator was struggling, and the offense looked terrible by the end of the year. So. I don't know. And I heard a lot of things and people had heard things. When you lose games and you go on that kind of a skid, guess what? You find out a lot about yourself and your teammates and other people. And I think it's a combination of everything went wrong with the defense, with the defensive coordinator, and with the offensive coordinator. And then all of a sudden, guys weren't as close when they're losing. And instead of rallying and getting closer, they drifted further apart. But so here's the good thing. They have new coordinators coming in. And the fact that some players are coming out, because Gainwell's not the first person to come out. He's not the first player to come out and kind of talk about how things went wrong. That going in. Jalen Hurts knows that going in. And you can deal with that, and you can prepare for that going into this season. And hopefully that's something they can rally around.
Now, isn't Kenny Gainwell the guy that was responding to fans at halftime of the
yes
the game on Instagram?
He was fighting with people on DM of Instagram, yes, at halftime.
I tend to, when I hear this, I gravitate to, the not talking to one another, and then the rumors about Jalen Hurts and him not being the greatest of leader as he's made out to be. I think Kenny Gainwell needs to just shut it and watch his back, because we drafted Will Shipley from Clemson, and I think he's coming for Kenny Gainwell's job. So, I mean, for one, I don't want to have to deal with all the speculations and the drama, and we're going to have to hear about Sirianni needing to go as we get a little closer to August. And man, oh man, like, it's just like, we can't have nice things at times.
It always seems to come from guys too that actually aren't the stars. Like, they're always like the background pieces that like to talk the most. And I think that's what's so frustrating, because in Philadelphia, everybody hates us. They always are looking for something to grab. And then it's the guys that are irrelevant almost that always give them something.
Well, yeah. Gainwell messaging fans at halftime, like, yeah, you know what? You might get the cold shoulder at the Novacare.
They're not going to fill you in.
Nut ass shit like that.
Yeah.
That's totally insane.
I'm not a big fan of Gainwell, the player. I still think he's in your running back rotation. Like you said, though, Maniac, they did draft his, most likely they drafted his replacement. But, I mean, I don't want to let any of this cloud with what he said. Should he have said it? No, he probably shouldn't have said it, right? But the reality is that he told us what I already believed, which was there was something going on internally in that locker room. You don't go from 10-1 and being a Super Bowl favorite to totally falling apart if there's not something going on internally. I said it then and I'll say it now. And I think Gainwell's just the next person on that list that lets you know that something was off last year.
Yeah.
I agree with you on that. And it almost seemed like you can talk or tell by those comments, but then also just from looking on the field, it seems like it was more of a front office and player miscommunication type thing. I feel like it was coordinators / coaches that were button heads with the players.
Not as much players to players.
No, I mean, you saw a little bit of bickering, but then you see guys like AJ Brown, who was one of the guys that everybody thought was miserable, coming out saying he wants to be a Philadelphia Eagle for the rest of his life and he loves this team, and the core is coming back and they're all signed through like 2028 now.
Sam, if you gave me, a couple, like $100 million, I think I'd say just about anything too.
Fair,
but you wouldn't have to lie. You already signed it.
Yeah. Well, here's the reality: is that whatever was going on last year with the players, if there was, it seems like it's okay, and it's going to be something that's manageable, and they can go with in the future. And what I was worried about last year was, can they make this work, or is there something going on internally with the players to where this is going to be something that maybe you can't get past? If you remember Craig Carton, the former sports radio host, now he does a show on FS1, he was talking about a lot of stuff, and he said that he didn't think that it was what he heard is he didn't think the relationship was repairable. And clearly the Eagles and AJ Brown don't feel the same way, which is a good thing, going into the year.
And then he also come up and saying, he was like, I was just totally making that up.
Well, Craig Carton is a known Philadelphia Phillies and Eagles hater. He just hates Philadelphia. So
he sure does.
Take it for what you will.
Stirring it up.
Yeah, but let's get back into baseball, guys. Before we do, Maniac, tell them what to do.
Like and subscribe. Bet Parx YouTube and also Jon Marks YouTube channel. Please like and subscribe.
Yep. So, John, you sat down today with Tom McCarthy. Yesterday. Right? With Tom McCarthy, the Phillies TV broadcaster for the Phillies. Let's see what happened.
Legend.
Team once you hit the playoffs, but like a 90. As the voice of the Philadelphia Phillies joins Out of the Parks with Jon Marks, and it's T-Mac, Tom McCarthy. All right, so let me just tell you where I was with this Phillies team entering this season. I thought it was a lot like last year, a lot like the year before. Dangerous team once you hit the playoffs, but like a 90-win team, maybe 92 wins. Braves were going to be a 100-win team. The Phillies weren't going to really truly compete for the division. And I have to say, now we're entering the middle of May. Boy, was I wrong. How did you look at this Phillies team as we were entering 2024?
Well, I thought that the same thing you did. I said I said this over and over again. If they got to the postseason, they were fine because their matchup of Wheeler, Nola, and Suarez, and then whoever else would pitch after that can match up against any three pitchers in baseball, including the Dodgers staff. So I felt good about that. I did think, because just talking with Rob Thompson the goal, and listen, there's a long way to go, but the goal was to win the division, because I think Rob feels like they've sort of dodged a few bullets over the last couple of years, that they've had really fortuitous matchups in the wild card that have enabled them to kind of, I don't want to say breeze through the wild card, but get through the wild card. But I think he does feel like getting to the division and being able to set up your pitching staff the way you want it to would be huge. And he also talked about the competition part of it, that they want to win the division because they haven't won the division. But I still thought the Braves were the best team, and I still think that they're going to make a run. I mean, they're not hitting right now except for Ozuna, and the Strider injury is kind of catching up to them a little bit from a starting staff standpoint. So I thought they would probably be a low to mid 90 win team, not a 108 pace, which is what they're on right now. And they're really taking advantage of this schedule. I mean, I know people said it's soft right now, but listen, years past, they didn't beat this soft schedule. They played to the level of it, and they're playing above it right now. And I think that's been fun to watch. And I do think it just will build confidence. I really do.
Yeah, when you look at the schedule, there's a lot of not so great teams in Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to be doing the same thing here, but like you had said, Phillies couldn't beat those teams before. They're really taking advantage. I guess that the two things I'm most impressed with so far this year that I maybe didn't see coming. Not that I don't think Ranger Suarez isn't a great starter, but he's had things in previous years. He had the visa problem a couple years ago, so he got a late start. He had the World Baseball Classic, same thing. But boy, was he ready to start the season this year. And man, when you look at Zach Wheeler and you look at Ranger Suarez, talk about a 1-2. We always talk about Aaron Nola being the number 2. Right now, Ranger Suarez is one of the best starters in baseball.
Yeah, in fact, Aaron's joked about that. He said, my ERA is barely over 3. He said, but I'm not even scratching the surface at this point. And he's right, but he's been fine. Ranger, I came into camp in better shape. He's a year older, which I do think there's a lot to that. He's seen these last 2 years and how he has needed to continue to get physically stronger. And I think he did that. I agree with you about the visa issues. There were none. And there was no blip on the radar with the injury he had last year in the World Baseball Classic. So he is the perfect complement to the power of Wheeler and Nola. And I think that he's the perfect complement to the back end guys, whoever it is, whether it be Taijuan Walker, Spencer Turnbull, whoever they go out and get, or Christopher Sanchez, those kind of guys. He's just been a joy to watch.
That's pretty amazing, John. Well done.
Yeah, well, it sounds like Tom should just be a part of our show because...
Yeah, we should get him.
Yeah, because he honestly thinks exactly like we do, or we're just geniuses.
Yeah,
I believe it's that.
I believe it's that. We talked about a lot of it before. A lot of the stuff that he said is like kind of right on par with what we're talking about. 2 things that I pulled away from that interview, John, which I thought was really interesting, is thinking about the way that Ranger complements Wheeler and Nola in his style of pitching, and it's also the back end of the bullpen. And then he said something really interesting to me, is about who you're going to go out and get. How much better can you make this team, and in what spots? John, if you had to do anything to this red hot Phillies team to make them even better, what do you think McCarthy means, or what do you want to see them do?
Yeah, it's probably a bullpen piece, right? Or a depth bat. Yeah, it's not. I mean, and the Phillies just made a couple moves. They made a move yesterday. They acquired a pitcher that's going to go on the that's going to like be in the minors or something. So it was like a minor move. But I mean, realistically, when you look at it, where's the hole on the team unless there's an injury or something that happens? I mean, look at Cody Clemens.
Yeah, I was just about to say Cody.
This dude belongs on a major league roster. He comes up. He had a home run against the Reds, and he gets set back down was that when Bryce was on paternity leave?
Correct.
He hits a home run. He comes back up his first game back, hits another home run, and all this dude has done is produce when he's up here. So even your AAA team has guys that really could be in the majors and playing right now. So they don't. It's pitch me, Sam. This is weird. I feel this feels too easy right now.
And to your point, John, it's almost too good to be true. And it's like, well, like, do you really have to make a move? You guarantee that they're going to make a move before this trade deadline, because last year they thought they had the team and they didn't make the move. And everybody was kind of like, was that the right call? And then it proved out not to be. So, they're going to make some kind of move. And if I'm guessing, I agree with you. I think it would also be bullpen.
Gregory Soto isn't enough, John?
Well, Soto hasn't exactly panned out the way that you thought, but also a lot of my takes early in the season haven't panned out as well. I mean,
There's still a lot of time, guys. I
There
do have
is.
a question though. There's like a little bit of speculation. I think it's like for Jerickson Profar, for like Castellanos, like obviously all rumors to this point. But what do you guys think about that? Are you guys looking to get rid of Castellanos? Obviously not the most reliable to this point, but we've seen what he can do.
One thing I don't want to do is disrupt the chemistry on this team.
No.
And if you're bringing in a different personality, Castellanos, he can be hot and cold, but here's what we know, that he connects with the rest of his teammates in the clubhouse. His son, everything else that's going on, they have his back. I don't want to bring somebody else in here that could potentially damage that. In baseball, with such a long season, and really in all sports, teams that get along and are pushing and pulling in the same direction. We saw it with the Eagles when they won a Super Bowl in 2017. We saw it with the Phillies during their run. Teams that get along and are all on the same page generally do much better. So I'm ready to ride out the season with Castellanos. If they move on after the season, that's fine. I'm not doing anything to this team right now. I'm not making any major moves.
Yeah, if you're adding anybody, he's not sitting in that dugout. He's sitting all the way out in the bullpen, and he's a nice big piece that kind of stays out there and away from all the guys in the dugout.
I love it. Okay, guys, looking into MLB news now. Last night, Wilson Contreras had a pretty bad injury that's going to affect the Cardinals season. Check it out.
Can you play it for us? Also, shout out to Becky.
Yes, that got a piece of Contreras on the big backswing. And oh boy, you worry about the left elbow and the left swing and a miss. That got a piece of Contreras on the big backswing. And oh boy, you worry about the left elbow and the left hand. And Contreras sees that left hand go numb. Where did this clip him?
Go numb. Where do you see this?
The call was catcher's interference.
Fine.
And Contreras holding that left arm.
Gosh, you hate to see that. Obviously, we know the punishment that Contreras has taken this year behind the plate. One of the toughest guys that we've seen, and we'll see this one here. The backswing catches him right in the wrist, upper forearm area there. Oh, man.
That wasn't even the backswing.
Yeah, that wasn't even the backswing.
That was the swing.
And when I got the notification on my phone from the MLB app, it said that too on the backswing. That was just a straight
hit him on the swing.
Give me your arm. I'm going to break it right now. Give me your forearm. And according to our producer, Mark Feldman, he was actually being instructed to move closer to the plate to frame lower strikes, so that he could pick them up, like how they do that motion. And if you looked, I mean,
he was really close.
So close.
Yeah, he was really close.
And you could even see his forearm.
Yeah, kind of divot.
Like a compound. Oh.
Well, so he was told media last night that he would be out 6 to 8 weeks, but then they said that he can go get surgery as early as I think Wednesday. So today.
And I saw JD Martinez after the game said that he knew he didn't hit glove because he's hit glove plenty of times. It said it felt like he was hitting a piece of meat.
Yeah,
when he hit it, and he was.
You want to think that baseball is not a contact sport? Just show anybody that video.
Look at JT earlier in the year when he took the ball off the throat.
Yeah,
and man, these catchers go through a lot.
Yeah, he's one of the best players in the game, honestly. He's one of the best catchers in the game. It's a shame. I mean, it's truly a shame. And gosh, it makes you wonder,
Well, so
JT, stay healthy. Put Stubbies in there a little bit more. Why don't you? He looked good back there last night.
It's a little different because obviously JT is the best catcher in baseball. But could you imagine if he was instructed to move closer to the plate and then an injury like that got him out? Like, how furious would you be as a fan?
Yeah, you'd be mad. You saw it when you actually see, and Maniac said it. You saw it. No one should be surprised he got hit. He was like on the plate, and I get it. I guess it's some. And again, this was the Cardinals. This was St. Louis. This was management trying to improve his defense and framing pitches or whatever. Another reason to have the ABS, the automated ball strike. There
you go.
Malloy.
Wow, you
Protect our
snuck that
catches.
one in on me, you dirty rat. Unbelievable.
That is hilarious.
But you all right. You all right.
Okay, guys, moving on to rapid fire. Okay, so John, Phils are hot, but there seems
White hot.
white hot. But there seems to be a team that's hot in the first half, like we talked about, and completely derails. Should we be worried about how long this hot streak can last?
No, I'm not worried about it at all. But I mean, I think realistically, you have to realize that there's going to be some type of a lull in this season. If you look ahead to the rest of the schedule, they really don't. And again, I think a lot of this is a product of you being a really good team, but they should keep rolling. They can't continue to win at this pace, but I don't see this team taking a step back at all. I think what you're going to see is the Braves improve their play, and it's a matter of how well the Braves play. But I see the Phillies and the Braves kind of going neck to neck, until the end of the season.
Yeah, we talked about it last week. They were ahead of us by a half a game, and now they're behind us by 3 games. So things can change really quick. But Trea Turner out 6 weeks about. How big is that going to affect this Phillies team?
Well, right now it doesn't feel like it's going to affect it all that much, and things change quickly. But just the fact that you're able to go with Sosa, and then you can move Stott over there. It's one thing if you put Sosa and then he gets exposed as an everyday player, but you're not going to have to worry about that because you can play Sosa when you want to, and then you can move Stott over, and his defense is good enough. So you'll have a little bit with Sosa, a little bit with Stott, and it gives Merrifield a couple more bats, and you get him at second base. So I'm excited to see what the guys do. But I think at the end of the 6 weeks, or whenever Trea Turner's ready to come back, we'll be ready for Trea Turner to come back.
Hopefully he comes back hot. John, you said at the beginning of this season, it was going to be hard for the Phillies to win 90 games. They're on pace for 112 right now. Do you take that back?
Yeah, I think it's going to be hard for them not to win 90 games at this point with the way that they've started. I mean, at this point, you would have to think that 95 or more, their schedule is going to be more difficult in the second half. But with the start that you've had, the best start that they've had in decades, if you don't hit 95 wins this year, something's went really wrong. So I take it back for sure.
Okay, guys, the Phils are about to kick things off in about 20 minutes from now. Their lineup today is basically back to normal. We have Bone back in the lineup, Real Muto back in the lineup, but we do have Stott at second and then Sosa at short. So what do you guys think for today's game?
Well, first of all, just to go over a couple things. Phillies are currently on the Parx app plus 210 to win the NL East with a 3-game lead early in the season. Might be one you want to check out.
What are the Braves?
The Braves are actually insane odds, minus 435.
Wow. So they still, the book
is
still
not
believes
bullish as we are on the Phillies.
Yeah. All right. I like
With that said, I got a confession to make. I faded the Phillies last night, and I had to eat my shoe. And I don't know, but today they're looking like big favorites at minus 175 over the Jays. Marks, how are we going to bet this game today? You got any bets for us?
Well, I mean, they're favored to sweep this series, and then you go in the next series. I wouldn't expect a lot of losses as well. I mean, the difference with this team is when you look at them, there's not a soft spot with the starting pitcher. So, even when you look at a lot of times when you have your back end of your bullpen or your back end of your starters going, you're like, all right, well, that could probably be a loss. The way these guys are pitching, you don't feel like that anymore. So, I mean, I'm hesitant to put out anything because we've been really bad at this recently, Maniac Malloy. I think you're going to see it's going to be a hot day today. The over/under runs is 8.5. Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah, it's going to be some home runs.
I love it. Over on the runs today. Take a look at that 25% live profit boost like we have every Wednesday on the Parx app. Maybe you're watching the Phillies game. Maybe you see them go behind a run in the top of the first inning, and maybe.
I'm sorry, I'm still processing your guys' bet. I'm not sure if I'm going with that.
You're going under 8.5?
Yeah, I might. Chris Bassett's good, isn't he? Good arm for the Blue
Phillies
Jays.
had faced him back when he was with the Mets.
Yeah, but
he's good.
Year.
It almost seems, to Sam's point, it almost seems too easy
I feel like you guys are getting tripped up off of excitement from last night.
Oh, of course.
So
That's
So
what
if
bettors
you guys
do.
want to be right, fade
Well, see,
the
I
men.
did that last night. I tried to fade them, and they made me eat crow. So, and they were rolling out the B lineup. Michael, Mr. Walk, Sanchez. I'm thinking, all right, they got to drop one here.
Yeah.
And I think even Tom said that in his interview with you. It's like,
Yeah.
you think, man,
good to
well,
be
maybe
true,
they're
yeah.
going to like have a little, B team tonight, and they come out and put up 8 runs off of the best pitcher in the AL. So at this point, it's really hard to bet against the Phillies.
You're right. And they do have their guys coming back. Bohm had a night off. Real Muto had a night off. So maybe we'll see something from them. But
yeah, and
Maybe a
Matt
little
Alba,
small wager?
Matt Alba, our executive producer, just put some of the odds up on the Bet Parx app. I'm looking at Bryce Harper. See, like now is I almost feel like betting him again. But I said this yesterday too. I'm like, I can't bet him another day to hit a home run. He's plus 265 right now. Schwarbs is plus 190.
I'm feeling Real Muto tonight.
JT plus 350 is a good bet. You took the
Yeah,
words
I want
out of my
JT.
mouth, Sam. Oh, well,
I'm gonna give you one.
Castellanos.
I'm going to give you one.
We got
Vladdy Jr.
Oh, I can't do that.
He runs into one today. He runs into one.
Not
today.
when Nola's in.
They got to. After they get their asses kicked, they better come back and play a good game today.
It's a good point. And their manager got all fired up last night. And Nola has been known to give up a couple home runs here and there.
All right, I'm doubling down on the fade. Blue Jays money line, Vladdy home run. Remember, clip this video.
I'm writing it down right now.
The Oracle. Sorry. It's the gambler in me. What can I say?
I'm going JT home run under 8.5 runs because I'm fading you guys on that second.
I like
part.
it. I like it.
There we go. John, are you saying Bryce home run tonight?
I am not gonna put my toxic touch on Bryce Harper by I'm gonna go Schwarber with another Schwarber bomb. Why not? Plus 190. Yes, and combine that with a Phillies win.
Okay.
Boom.
Perfect.
Here. I can get you odds real quick if I can get to it real quick.
Yeah, I just took a note. So we're gonna actually.
Yeah, we'll have to revisit this.
Yeah.
Now, Marksy.
Yeah.
It's Out of the Parks with Jon Marks. I mean, that's the title of the show.
That's me.
And my biggest thing I was talking about it last week. I mean, it's got to be a lot of fun for this group of guys that really, really like each other to go on the road after you just beat the crap out of everybody at home. Take this show on the road in a kind of a weaker stadium atmosphere, and you're the draw. Who's hitting a home run for the Phillies this weekend against the Marlins?
Oh, we're going with bullish on Boom.
Boom!
Boom! Alec Bohm continues his hot streak. And hopefully I discontinue the cold streak that we've had on our Friday pick, and also with what I've been picking over the weekend.
Yeah, we'll be back to it with Happy Hour Friday. We're gonna get it right this time.
We
probably
just missed
center
it.
in on the Phillies Marlins game. Maybe we'll throw Bowman on there.
Well, listen, why not? We just missed it. We had Aaron Nola with plus strikeouts. He didn't get it. We hit everything else on the bet.
That close.
So
we're getting around it. We're
close.
We're starting to flirt. Now it's time to hit it.
We're close.
I like that. Hit it like kids baseball.
Hit it? Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah. I like it. But John, before we go, we do have a fan question. We kind of already got around to it, but who would you like the Phillies to target at the trade deadline? What is their biggest need as of May 8th? We talked about it being the bullpen, but do you have any names in mind?
I don't have any names in mind, but I can just tell you it's a veteran back end reliever because I love. No, not Craig Kimbrell. No, isn't he blowing up is he in Baltimore this year? Isn't he blowing up in Baltimore?
Yeah.
He got benched finally.
Yeah, he got benched. Yeah, I mean, isn't it cool to actually not? It's such a luxury not to really have needs at this point. But it definitely would be, I think, a right-handed, even with Hoffman, but a right-handed back end reliever. You have enough lefties that can throw 100 miles an hour. Let's get another righty that can throw upper 90s. So that'd be at least my thought right now.
I love it. We got some time that we can kind of scout people too. So that's fun for us to be able to look around. So maybe we'll come back next week and actually look at some names.
Let's get that dude from the A's that throws about 103 miles an hour. What's his name? Mason something or other.
I don't know. Mason Miller. That's what Mark Goodman said, our producer.
Somebody told us Philly Sports Pride. He's 2-5. Not good, meaning Craig Kimbrell, I imagine.
Oh, probably. Yeah, he started. I think he looked good in the beginning of the season and then really nosedived there. So
I'm liking this right now. Come on, rattle off this questions. If you're watching right now, do us a favor. Like and subscribe. Number one.
Like and
then throw us a question right now. Like, shout out to Becky a little bit earlier. She said no question, but a comment. Love Tom McCarthy and hearing his thoughts. Well, Becky, you're in luck because we're going to try to get him back here every once in a while when Jon Marks can beg him for a favor.
Yes.
So that we're going to do that, which is not much begging because John is such a nice guy.
We will continue to do this in coming weeks. Actually, Craig Kimbrell hasn't been bad. He's 3-1 with 8 saves. So I happened to see him blow up the other night, and I thought that's what he was doing. But we know what he'll do by the end of the season. Craig Kimbrell.
Mason Miller. That's the guy.
Is that who's 2-5? Who were they commenting was 2-5 then?
Maybe Mason Miller. I don't know.
Oh,
yeah.
I mean, honestly, yeah. And I was just looking at some standings the other day. The A's aren't all that bad.
No,
considering they're playing in a toilet and they're going to leave after the season. They have no fans coming, and everybody thought they're one of the worst teams in baseball. They're only 3 games under 500. But anyway, yeah, I'll take one.
Rallying for the city. Their last time. What guys? But we do have one more question. If you had to name your dog after a Philly, who would it be and why? I feel like it has to be, Bryce or Harper. I feel like people name their kids Harper. So
no.
This is a great question. So my mom she breeds dogs. She breeds West Highland White Terriers. And during the run, 08, 09, she had a litter of puppies where everybody got a name. Ryan, Chase, Jason. It was a litter of 5 puppies. So she named them after all the stars. And then another litter came. She did some of the starting pitchers in a bullpen. I think Lidge got Brad. There was a little boy that was Brad that she named. So with all that being said, you can't really name a dog Alec, right? That doesn't flow with a dog like, hey, Alec.
Al.
Right? Al?
Bomer.
Well, could you just go Bohm with a dog?
No, you couldn't just go Bomer.
It would have to be Bomer, but I think Bomer's cute.
Bomer's all right.
Oh, Mike Fry commented Topper. That's a good one.
I got the best one.
All right.
John, did you even say yours yet, though? You like Bomer?
Well, I'm going through this in my head. Bryce is an easy one because you could name a dog Bryce. Harper for a female dog would be easy as well. You know what? I'm going to go with Nick. Nick is a great name.
All right, Nick. I got the one.
What's up,
There's
Nick?
only one name. You name your dog Chooch.
Oh,
Chooch.
Yeah.
You got to go.
One, but I was thinking current Philly.
I don't see any stipulations on the questions here. It says after a Philly, who would it be and why?
Fair.
Well, then
come here, Chooch.
That's not as fun because then you got Dutch. You got so many.
Chooch, get your ass back here, Chooch.
I knew so many Utleys and so many Chases. To your point, John,
a lot of Chases.
So many, but
a lot of Carsons too after Carson Wentz, and that blew up.
Well, that one people probably regret that. The poor kids that
you know what?
named Carson.
My cousin Jen had a golden retriever named Macklin.
Oh boy.
That is.
Yeah, but see, it's tough to do in football because the careers are so much smaller. So I don't know.
I do have a friend who has a dog named Nola.
See, that's a good one.
That's a good one. That's really good. I think that's
works.
Probably second to choose.
Yeah. What about Wheels? I'm just trying to go through the Wheels.
Zach. I don't know. Zach.
Fast Jack Russell.
Wheels.
Doesn't it also matter the breed of the dog, like you were saying, Sam?
Yeah, Chooch is a bulldog.
Yeah.
Right. Yes. Chooch is a bulldog or a basset hound. You couldn't go Chooch with a golden retriever.
Yeah. Bomer would be like a golden retriever.
No, you can't name your golden
Marshy ain't bad. Hey, Marshy.
Bomer.
Come here, Marshy.
Marshy.
I like it, though.
Marshy for a female Labrador retriever. Marshy.
Costy. Nah, it's too much of a mouthful. You don't want that.
Castellanos. What's the worst way they ever said it to you on the radio over your time?
Castellanos was what Herb from Northeast Philly said.
Herb used to say that.
Yeah, Castellanos.
Castellanos.
Yeah.
I
Really
knew
not
when
that-
my
really
dad
not
is
that hard.
he's notorious. He used to call Brad Sam. Wait, who was the backup the quarterback for the Eagles? Brad.
Kolb.
No, Brad Sanford, right?
Mm.
No,
Who?
that's what he called. That's what he used to call him. Sam Bradford. He used to call him Brad Sanford, like dead seriously all the time.
That's
Right.
funny.
Sam Bradford was Brad Sanford.
Well,
That's gold.
he
Shout
probably
out to
deserved
Dad.
that name.
That's gold.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay, so what? That's a good question though. That was a fun one.
Yeah, we'll have to come back next week with our
Scotty?
Eagles.
Yeah. Oh, that would be fun.
Yeah,
Okay,
but again, you
no,
have to
Jays
No, the
watch
Jays
it.
starting pitching today is 2-5 per Phillies Sports
Oh.
Pride as we've come back.
Okay, thanks.
Full
So he's
circle.
not as good as I thought then.
Love to go full
Oh
circle.
well,
Yeah.
for sure, he's gonna be dealing today.
No hitter, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We'll see. I
Did you
wrote him
see
down.
that at all last night by chance?
I
was
did.
watching.
I did.
Now
I
you
did
only
see
got to watch. There's either 2 or 3 games that you need to really watch throughout the whole season. It's the Phillies, the Braves, where the Phillies play in the Braves. That's 2 games, and the Dodgers every night. MLB Network, hilarious. They're giving a Yamamoto no-hitter watch before the game even starts. Literal first pitch to Jazz Chisholm. Absolutely nukes a ball into right center for a home run. First pitch of the game.
Wait, why
Pretty
would they
amazing.
talk about a no hitter?
They were
Because
saying
they-
how good he is, and they said he's so good. They're gonna put on the no hitter alert now just to start the game.
That
and
is
literally,
the dumbest thing I've ever heard in baseball. Talk about fire
Well,
somebody
he was kind of like terrible Yamamoto in the beginning of the year. He's got his
Yeah.
ERA
first
was
start.
down.
No, he's dealing now, man.
Now he's
unbelievable.
dealing. He's at like
Yeah.
291 ERA. He's looking good.
Yeah, you figured that would happen.
So it was like a prediction that really, really backfired. I can't wait to see what he says tonight. I did bet the Dodgers -1.5 last night. Just saying.
Well, you got it.
I'm
There
hot.
you go.
All right. It's about first pitch. Sam, why don't you take
Yep.
us out?
Yep, we got about less than 10 minutes. So we got to go get ready to watch the game. So thank you for tuning in to episode 6 of Out of the Parks with Jon Marks. We'll be back next Wednesday for episode 7. Tune in.
Well done, Johnny.
All right.